Session number 19, and it's all about the topic of dealing with uncertainty, dealing with resistance, dealing with things that is so necessary. So, Mario, where do you stand right now? What are you going to talk about today? And I want to bring in this concept of self-talk. And I realize being a specialist and an expert in emotional intelligence, this is so important because, how do intelligent people behave? But I would rather say, how do people with high emotional intelligence behave? And I want to start with my famous story because there's going to be tough times, there's going to be critical issues. But what do we do? What do you do when you need help during this time? And listen to the story. See if you can recognize it. Please, this is a case study. It is a very popular one. And listen to the statements. The wife of a man from the company cried out, "Your servant, my husband, is dead. But now his creditor is coming to take my 2 boys as his slaves." And then she replied to them, "How can, I need some help." And then the feedback was, "Tell me, what do you have in your house?" So there was a person visiting her. And then she replied, "Your servant has nothing there at all," she said, "except a small jar of olive oil." Now, I hope you remember this case. Now let me carry on. And then the feedback was, "Go around and ask all your neighbors for empty jars. Don't ask just for a few. Then go inside, shut the door behind you and your sons, pour oil into all the jars, and as it's filled, put in one side." She left him and shut the door behind her and her sons. They brought the jars to her and kept pouring and pouring and pouring. She went and told the man of God, and he said, "Go and sell the oil and pay your debts. You and your sons can live on what is left." Now, I want to throw back to you the story. Where is that coming from? It's coming from 2 Kings 4, verses 5 to 7. And why is this so important? Because what are the learning points? It's about self-talk. What do you do when you're in a crisis? What do you have in your hands? I'm thinking of an example of one of my PhD students one day. He said, "Mario, it's difficult to me to find a job." And I'm saying, "But you're sitting and do nothing. What do you have in your hands? What about your talents? What about the resources? If you think about this specifically, what can you do?" So during this tough times, how do you communicate? And what do you say to each other? Do you build people up or do you bring them down? And there's power in our tongues. Do you speak life or do you speak death? So important that we really fix this and right now in our times. I want to go back to a couple of statements from Albert Einstein, who said, "The significant problems we face cannot be solved by the same level of thinking that created them." So we're saying there is a lot of opportunities even in a crisis, right? In the middle of a crisis. But we need to remain honest. We need to share the brutal facts. We need to confront these type of things because that, in this time that we're in right now, that will open doors for us. So, if you think about where you are right now, please engage in dialogue. Analyze the situations. Watch out where you are in terms of your communication. Be careful also for what I call a verbal or emotional abuse in your self-talk, because that sometimes you reach the point, so listen, you say something that is actually more abuse. It could be very dangerous, it could be demeaning messages, and it could be like a withdrawal instead of a deposit in other person's life. So I always use the example, sometimes when we talk things, we start on the outside, the zone of comfortable discussions. And then we go into the middle, the zone of maybe uncomfortable. But during times like this, with the crisis in the world, we know we need to go right in the middle. What are the issues, Mario? Let's talk about the issues. And when you communicate, use the following: CLEAR. Always clarify what you want to say. Listen to each other. Explore alternatives. Action. Because that to me is something that I'm saying you can make it happen, and then finally review it. So let me repeat: clear, clarify, listen, explore, action, review. And then you use principles like testing, understanding, giving information, seeking information, but don't attack. Rather disagree because disagree is about the issue. I want to close wonderful statement. Philippians 4 verse 8. Finally, brothers and sisters, in other words, whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is admirable, whatever is anything that's excellent and praiseworthy, think about these type of things. So I want to say there are 2 more sessions, powerful. In the next session, I'm going to talk about specifically, how do you move to a real life of significance. And then the final session, I'm going to talk about the way forward. Day 21. I'm looking forward to carry on with the series. I'm excited. Connect with us so that you can make a difference. Be blessed.